Hello, I'm Lara Kulcharsan and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. US President Donald Trump says he's optimistic about ending the war in Gaza after meeting with the leaders of Arab and Muslim-majority countries. It comes after his address at the UN General Assembly, where he criticized the growing number of countries recognizing Palestine and supporting a two-state solution.
Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities.
But recognition of Palestinian statehood is a symbolic gesture. So far, diplomacy has made little difference. Israel's assault on Gaza City is intensifying, and by Wednesday, tanks were about half a kilometer from Al-Shifa Hospital. The enclave's largest hospital is already overwhelmed with the injured. Israeli strikes hit families sleeping in makeshift tents as thousands of residents continue to flee south with no guarantee of shelter or safety. Since the war began nearly 2 years ago, millions of Gazans have faced constant evacuations and displacement. Among them is 18-year-old Amir Ismail. He's been forced to move 17 times and has been documenting his struggles on YouTube.
I swear I'm so tired.
The situation is so bad. Right now they are forcing all the people in the north of Gaza to evacuate to the south of Gaza. Here at this area, and they started shooting on me, and the window got broken, as you can see. And as you can see, I was living here.
Still alive. Right now we are in the south.
One day I will open the camera and I will say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Palestine, especially in Gaza, where there is peace and happiness and there is no war and there is no genocide.
With international media still barred from reporting inside Gaza, it's people like Amir who are exposing the nightmares of daily life there. Now, social media users are stunned by a new TikTok feature that appears to monetize those very videos of Palestinian suffering. In one example, a video of a mother searching through the rubble for her family triggered prompts recommending similar clothing, directing viewers to TikTok shop to buy near-identical items. The same happened on videos from activists like Miss Rachel, who continuously speaks out on the plight of children in Gaza. Her striped blue dress prompted a Find Similar button, offering lookalike products for sale on the platform. The feature is TikTok's new visual search tool. It scans pose frames, highlights clothing or accessories, and then suggests similar products from TikTok Shop.
TikTok just dropped visual search tagging, and this is what it means. When a viewer pauses your video, TikTok AI can scan what is on the screen and show clickable tags that lead to similar products or related posts inside the app. Some users will see it labeled as Find Similar whenever they pause their video. It will not show on every account because it's still in the testing stage, and it is by region.
TikTok says the tool uses AI to identify objects and was never intended to apply to humanitarian or conflict-related content. But its appearance on Gaza videos is deeply inappropriate. Critics say it strips away any illusion that social media is about community or conversation, exposing what really drives the platforms: commerce. With every post now treated as a chance to sell something, there's no filter for context.
I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual.
Jimmy Kimmel has made an emotional return as his late-night talk show returned to its usual slot. He was suspended for making jokes in the aftermath of the assassination of right-wing influencer Charlie Kirk. The comic's suspension came after the Broadcasting Authority threatened to revoke ABC's license over his comments. Kimmel's rebuke has got left-leaning Americans fired up about the future of freedom of speech and whether President Trump is trying to silence political satire.
This is a full-blown attack on our right to know what's going on and have an opinion, and it's step 6 in the autocrat's playbook. Despite the propaganda and the false excuses, Republicans are consolidating more and more power and censoring what we hear and see. That's why they're demanding loyalty, punishing critics, and threatening newsrooms, the media, and journalists into silence.
I just want the attacks on free speech to stop, okay? I want the reaction, if you're angry about what Jimmy Kimmel said, is for the free markets to take him out, right? He doesn't have a show because nobody's watching him anymore because they're so disgusted by what he said. That's what I want. I want us to be in control, right? Of where we spend our dollars, of what we're saying, and not like the government to press a button and say, you lose everything because we don't like what you said. And it should be noted, by the way, that in the same monologue, he did call the murder senseless. The day that it happened, Jimmy Kimmel posted a message on Instagram sending love to the Kirk family, to the victims of gun violence. He posted, instead of the angry finger pointing, can we just for one day agree that it's horrible and monstrous to shoot another person? On behalf of my family, we send love to the Kirks and to all the children, parents, and innocents who fall victim to senseless gun violence. You wouldn't have thought that he had posted that in terms of everyone that were just like stripping him of everything. And I want to be clear, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel, right? I think he is a part of the radical left. The people that are constantly shouting, I don't like him at all. But I'm just recognizing that our solution to being angry at each other always seems to be, let's give the government more power.
Danish researchers say Snapchat is letting drug dealers operate openly on the app. They're accusing the company of failing to take down profiles with usernames that include words like coke, weed, or molly, all clear references to drugs. The Digital Ansvar organization says accounts like these are even being recommended to children who have never interacted with drug-related content. Dennis Kenji-Kipker is a research director at the Cyber Intelligence Institute. He spoke to Newsfeed about the implications of alleged drug sales on Snapchat.
Snapchat's appeal to drug dealers stems from its design features, which facilitate discrete and difficult-to-trace transactions. The app's core feature of disappearing messages and stories allows dealers to share menus, prices, and other illicit content with potential buyers, with the evidence automatically erased shortly after viewing. And this makes it really challenges for parents and law enforcement agencies to monitor and build cases. And additionally, the Snap Map feature, which shows users real-time locations, can be exploited by dealers as well to find and meet nearby customers for quick, localized deals. Counterfeit drugs with lethal substances like fentanyl pose the most immediate and acute threat to young people, while exposure can lead to experimentation and addiction. And addiction itself has devastating long-term consequences on a young person's brain, health, and life. The use of a single counterfeit pill can result in immediate death, and the lack of regulation in the illicit drug market means that pills purchased from sources like social media can be laced with lethal doses of synthetic opioids, often without the user's knowledge. And this risk is particularly high for young people who may be experimenting for the first time, or who believe they are taking less dangerous prescribed substances like a painkiller or any kind of anxiety medication. One key strategy involves implementing liability reform that holds social media companies accountable for failing to prevent illegal activities on the platforms, especially when they have been notified of it. For example, laws could require platforms to proactively report suspicious activity and cooperate also strongly with law enforcement rather than only reacting to user-flagged content. And this incentives platforms platforms to develop and deploy more sophisticated AI and machine learning tools, possibly to detect coded language and emojis used in drug deals, and to cross-reference with known trafficking patterns.
From being exposed to drugs on apps to the way social media shapes values and influences young people's lives.
You're making a big mistake!
Dad, I haven't done anything!
Dad, you're not reading what they're doing. It's a call to action by the manosphere.
15-year-old Owen Cooper made history as the youngest male to win a coveted Emmy. But it was his character Jamie in the series Adolescence that made an even bigger impact. It exposed cyberbullying and the stark contrast between teenagers' real and online lives. The provocative 4-part drama is considered a must-watch for parents. It lays bare how the internet is filled with toxic, damaging content and how misogynistic influencers are shaping the views of teenage boys, in this case, in Britain.
Immediately became a huge sensation when it came out back in March because of its very frank depictions of inceldom, the manosphere, the way that little boys are sort of indoctrinated into this ideology and culture in a way that is very, very prevalent with everything that's going on right now, especially this week. One of the most terrifying things about this show is that he has like normal, loving parents who love him and pay attention to him and are there for him, but they don't know what he's doing online, the types of content that he's consuming. It is a depiction of something that is happening every single day. Incel culture has sort of seeped into mainstream culture. These men mostly are literally spending all of their time online consuming content that they believe that women and people of color are inferior to them. And it's like this weird perversion of sociology of understanding like patriarchy and capitalism, right? Like Gen X and boomers do not understand the level to which this has grown and how prevalent it is. And I think that's one of the great things about this show, that they've made it all the way to the parents' generation and they're like finally understanding what we are dealing with on the internet.
To a chilling murder in the US that involves a singer and a teenage girl. Celeste Rivas Hernandez went missing last year. This month, her body was found in an impounded car linked to singer David. The artist hasn't been charged, but he has cancelled his upcoming concerts, while the internet asks, how did it ever come to this?
May or may not have heard of singer David, but he's had a couple of hits, including one that went very big on TikTok. On the 9th of September 2025, human remains were found in a Tesla that is registered to David. LA County Medical Examiner confirmed that the remains were Celeste.
At first it looked like he was being framed in some way, but people on the internet doing what they do did it best, finding crazy coincidences not only in his music, but also in his social media. And then you have the infamous Robin River comment from early 2024 saying, waiting for LAPD to get you for messing with a 13-year-old girl. Now, whether it's David doing it or someone who is in control of his social media, reposts on his channel that have some form of dark humor related to this incident are being deleted. And in a shoe cleaning video that David posted, he is apparently cleaning the same shoes as the young girl. And apparently around the time she went missing, she was wearing Hello Kitty Crocs. And wouldn't you know it, there are videos of her allegedly being seen wearing Hello Kitty Crocs with David.
When President Emmanuel Macron and his team prepared for the UN General Assembly, the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, along with the political turmoil back home, were possible priorities. Getting held up by President Trump's convoy was the last thing he expected. Even a direct call to President Trump didn't help. Macron had to walk 30 minutes to his embassy, stopping along the way to chat with New Yorkers and pose for selfies.
Sorry, President, I'm really sorry. It's just that everything's in frozen right now. There's a border kick coming right now. I'm sorry.
If you don't see it, let me post it. How are you? Guess what? I'm waiting in the street because everything is frozen for you. But which street? How are you?
No, you don't want to be on the picture?
I think I'll start that.
Put yourself on the picture. Put yourself on the picture because the president doesn't have so much time.
Non, c'est bon,
look at me, look at me.
Voilà. Thank you. Take care. Take care.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.